Your stop loss is sitting just under the last obvious low on your chart. So is everybody else's. That is not bad luck, and it is the whole reason it keeps getting hit. So here is the fix before anything else. Find the price where your idea is simply wrong. Then measure the average range of the last 14 candles on your time frame. Put your stop 1.5 to 2 of those beyond the level, never on it. And here is why it has to be that wide. In July, Ethereum had an obvious low at 1779. The first wick through it went $4 past, but $4 was not the bottom. Over the next day, price ground down to $29 below that level before it turned, and then ran 11% higher. The average candle range at the time was $20, so a stop 1 range below the level still died. A stop 1.5 ranges below survived and caught the whole move. And there is one situation where widening your stop is exactly the wrong answer. It is the situation most people watching are actually in. To understand why that happens, you have to stop thinking of your stop as a safety net and start thinking of it as an order, because that is what it is. A stop loss is a resting sell order sitting on the exchange at a price you chose. It is not private. The exchange knows it is there, and anyone reading the order book can see the shape of what is resting below the market. Now ask where those orders end up. Almost everyone is taught the same 2 rules. Put the stop below the recent low and use round numbers, so that is where they go. In the Ethereum data I just showed you, 10 of the 18 significant lows over 6 weeks sat within 0.5% of a $50 round number. Not near one, on one. At one point, 4 separate lows formed inside a $14 band around 1850. 4 attempts, 4 sets of stops, all stacked in the same few dollars of price. That stack is the problem. When a large buyer wants to fill a position, they need sellers. And a shelf of resting stop orders is the most reliable pool of sellers on the chart. Price does not have to be pushed there deliberately for this to work. It simply has to touch. And every one of those orders fires automatically and sells into whoever is waiting. This is not personal and nobody is looking at your account. It is mechanical. You put a sell order at the most predictable price on the chart, and the market filled it. So 3 specific mistakes, and they are the 3 I would fix first. The first is the round number itself. 1850, 2000, 70,000. These are not levels, they are just numbers humans like, and that is exactly what makes them crowded. If your analysis genuinely points at 1850, the level is fine. Your stop should just not be sitting on the same figure as everybody else's. The second is placing the stop exactly at the low, touching it. People do this because it feels efficient. The smallest possible loss if you are wrong. But a level is not a line, it is a zone. Here is the July example again, and watch how long it takes. The first candle through the level went $4 past and closed back above it. If you were watching, that already looked like the sweep was finished. It was not. Price kept probing for another day, and the lowest trade came 4 candles later, $29 below the level. Then it turned and ran 11%. So a sweep is a process, not a wick, and a stop sitting inside that process gets taken out early and misses everything that follows. The third mistake does the most damage, and it has nothing to do with the chart at all. It is choosing your stop by how much money you are willing to lose. $50 feels like enough, so the stop goes $50 away. That number came from your feelings about money and was never connected to what price actually does. On an asset that moves 1.5% in a normal day, a stop 0.5% away is not a risk decision, it is a coin flip you have to pay for. The chart decides where the stop goes, your account decides how big the position is. 2 different jobs. Quick check, and this is the whole method in one calculation. The low you care about is at 1850. The average range of the last 14 candles is $20. You want 1.5 ranges of buffer. Where does your stop go? 5 seconds. 1820. 20 times 1.5 is 30. 1850 minus 30 is 1820. And notice what 1820 is not. It is not a round number, and it is not a figure anyone else arrived at by feel. It came from the level and from the volatility. And those are the only 2 things it should ever come from. Let me do the whole thing properly in order, because the order matters. Step 1. Find your invalidation, not a price you would be sad to see. The price at which the reason you took the trade is no longer true. If you bought because a level held, invalidation is that level failing. If you bought because a trend was intact, invalidation is the trend breaking. If you cannot say out loud what would prove you wrong, you do not have a trade yet. Step 2. Add the volatility buffer. Take the average range of the last 14 candles on the time frame you are trading. Most platforms have this built in, and it is called ATR. Put the stop 1.5 to 2 of those beyond your level. And I want to show you where that number comes from, because plenty of people are taught one range, and one range is not enough. Take the 2 July sweeps. Measured against the average range at the time, one ran 0.78 of a range below the level before turning. The other ran 1.44, so a one-range buffer saves you on one and loses you the other. 1.5 covers both, and on the deeper one it covers it by about $1. That is how little margin 1.5 leaves. 2 is the safer number whenever your account can size for it. Step 3, and only now, work out your position size. You already know the distance from entry to stop, so size is arithmetic, exactly as in the last video. Account times risk percentage divided by that distance. On the July example, the stop sits near 1749, and that is the number you size from. Which brings me to the situation I flagged at the start, and it catches a lot of people. A wider stop is only free if the position shrinks with it. If you widen the stop and keep the same position size, you have not protected anything. You have simply increased what you lose when you are wrong. The two numbers move together, or the whole method collapses. And here is the uncomfortable version of that. Sometimes you do the arithmetic honestly, and the position comes out absurdly small. $9 of exposure. At that point, the answer is not to tighten the stop until the position looks worthwhile. That is the mistake dressed up as discipline. The answer is that the account is too small for that particular trade on that particular time frame, and a smaller time frame with tighter structure is a more honest fix than a stop you have squeezed to make the numbers feel better. And a wider stop is not the same thing as no stop. In the same 6 weeks, a level at 1671 broke properly. Price closed below it and kept going, another 9.5% lower over the following days. There was no reversal to wait for. Anyone who had removed their stop because it kept getting hit found out what the stop was actually for. Now, where you type it matters too. On a futures order ticket, you will usually find take profit and stop loss as a checkbox on the order itself, plus a separate trigger order type, ticket, and you get a stop loss field. Next to that field is a small drop-down almost nobody changes, and it decides which price triggers your stop, usually last traded price or mark price. On weeks while I was writing this, last price and mark price were a couple of dollars apart on Bitcoin. On a thin wick, that gap is what decides whether you are stopped out. Worth knowing it is there. Exchange link is in the description. So the whole thing on one card. Your stop is a visible resting order, not a private safety net. Stops cluster under obvious lows and on round numbers, so those are the most expensive places to put one. Never place the stop on the level, place it beyond the level. Use 1.5 to 2 average candle ranges as the buffer, because in the real data, a single range was not enough to survive the deeper of the two sweeps. Remember that a sweep is a process and not a wick, so the first poke through a level is rarely the lowest price. Choose the stop from the chart and the position size from your account, never the other way around. Widening the stop only works if the position shrinks with it. If you take one thing from this, take this. Most stops are not wrong because they were too tight. They are wrong because they were in the most obvious place on the chart, and obvious is the one thing a stop cannot afford to be. And nothing here is financial advice, it is education. Stops reduce risk, they do not remove it. And in fast markets, they can feel worse than the price you set. If that was useful, subscribe. Because that is what this channel does. One concept at a time, properly, with the real numbers rather than the hype. Next up, we are going to look at how you find the level in the first place, because every single thing in this video hangs off it, and most support and resistance is drawn far more loosely than people think. See you in the next one.